The first thing we're going to start with is prepping our apples. Now you want any kind of baking apple that's going to hold up and be firm and crisp, not turn just to mush once it's cooked. This is an old variety baking apple that I got from my sisters. It's probably over a 100-year-old tree. They're delicious, crisp, and they grow all of these different sizes, and they're so perfect for baking. You could also look for Granny Smith, Honeycrisp, so many varieties that work really well. I'm going to peel these up and then cut them into small cubes. And we need about 2.5 or 2 really heaping cups of apples. It's okay to prepare a little extra, because if you have some extras, that means a little extra snack. I'm going to add all of those apples, 1/4 cup of brown sugar, and some cinnamon and just a touch of nutmeg. We're going to let all of this cook down together so that the apples get nice and soft. Let's test one of our apples. Fork goes right in. These apples are soft. My apples are done and they're cooling on the stove, and we're going to get started on the puff pastry. Now this recipe can be made with frozen puff pastry or my easy homemade quick puff pastry. Usually when you use puff pastry, you take it out of the box and you unfold these folds and then just roll it out a little bit. With this easy quick puff pastry, we are not going to unroll it. We're going to start to roll it just like this, because this was our final fold and we need these folds rolled back into the layers, and that helps create that fluffy, light, flaky layers. So this is still really firm because it just came out of the refrigerator. We want it to be cold, but it also has to warm up just a little bit in order for us to roll it. So we're going to try to start rolling it out. Sometimes it just takes a while because it's so firm. You can see it's so hard to get this to roll. We're going to roll this out into a really large rectangle, about 16 by 8. I'm always coming back in and re-straightening up my sides. That helps keep everything nice and even. You can see it's starting to roll a whole lot better now. Just takes a little time, a little patience. So we're at 8 inches tall and about 15 inches in length. So we need to go a few more inches this way. Okay, I'm going to cut this in half, so about 8 inches right here. And then I'm going to work with one piece at a time. Cut each of these into 4 squares of about 4 inches a piece. They're not totally perfect, but that's okay. We just kind of work with it and makes it a little rustic, which is a great thing. These apples are still warm, but they're not hot. And I really don't want to add the hot apples directly onto my puff pastry because it's going to just melt that butter. We want to keep these as cold as possible. And so we can add the warm to it, and we're going to go kind of quickly. 1 egg and about a tablespoon of water, and whisk this together. The egg wash works as the glue to hold the puff pastry together so that it's sealed. And it also goes over the top of the pastries, which helps make that really beautiful golden color. What I'm going to do is start with the egg wash and just apply it right around the outer edges of each square. Just going to put a nice spoonful right here in the center. We don't want too much because it'll be really difficult to seal these, but we want enough so that these are filled. From corner to corner, and push those corners together first. And then work the puff pastry so that the other corners come together. It's okay to pick these up. And it's okay if a little bit of the juice comes out. I'm going to use a fork to crimp the edges, and that further seals these puff pastries. Oops, it didn't seal. I need to go back and redo that. It's always good to double check. Okay, onto my baking sheet that's lined with parchment paper. Okay, our final one. These go on the baking sheet. Now I have some leftover apples. Don't throw this away. This makes a really great snack, or put it in the refrigerator and pull it out in a day or two and put it over vanilla ice cream. It's so delicious. We're gonna put a few little slits in the top of each turnover, and these are vents so that all that steam as they're baking has a way to come out. Otherwise, it'll just split open that puff pastry. And then we're going to take that egg wash and brush it over the top of these all over. This is going to create that beautiful golden color. These are ready for the oven. I have a preheated oven, and these are going to go in for about 18 to 20 minutes. Because I'm going to be putting them on 2 different racks, I will be rotating those around about halfway through the cooking time. Okay, these are done, and you can tell they're sizzling. We're going to let these cool for about 10 minutes. And then we're going to add a little bit of icing. I'm going to put this baking rack on top of a cookie sheet, because when we add the glaze, it's going to drip, and I want it to catch that. Otherwise, I have quite a mess to clean up. I have a half a cup of powdered sugar in here, and I'm going to whisk in 1 to 2 tablespoons of milk. I always start with just the first one. The amount is really going to depend on how thin you want this. Just going to give this a good whisk. It's very thick right now. Just a little bit more. That's maybe a teaspoonful. Okay, it's got a really nice flow to it, because when I add this to my turnovers, I'm going to use a back and forth motion, and so I want something that's going to flow really nicely but also stick to the turnovers. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, these are still warm, is I'm going to now drizzle across the top. And you can see it just spills right over. Okay, let's give one a try. There's all these little flaky layers. And you can see the apples and cinnamon inside. This is such a great treat.